Hey, wild ones. Welcome back to the human wild, where we rip away the safety net of modern life and plunge straight into the raw, untamed heart of human history. Today, we're not just stepping out of our comfort zone, we're stepping 20,000 years back in time, to the last glacial maximum, the peak of the Ice Age. Imagine waking up naked, no phone, no shoes, no nothing, on a frozen plain where the air burns your lungs and the ground feels like it's out to break you. You've got 24 hours to prove you're as tough as your ancestors. Spoiler alert, you're not. Let's dive into this frozen hellscape and see why. Your eyes snap open, and the world hits you like a slap. The sun's a pale, sickly disk barely breaking through a sky choked with dust. 25 times more dust than you've ever breathed. Each inhale is a knife, the air so cold it feels like you're drowning in liquid nitrogen. This is Earth at its most savage, a time when 30% of the planet was buried under ice sheets 2 miles thick. The Laurentide ice sheet looms in the distance, a blue-black wall 10,000 feet high, grinding forward, crushing everything in its path. You're standing on permafrost, frozen earth harder than concrete, littered with jagged rocks that cut your soft, modern feet. They're already turning purple, the first whispers of frostbite creeping in. The wind slams into you. Not a breeze, but a katabatic gust. Supercooled air roaring off the ice sheets at 60 miles per hour. It's a mild day by Ice Age standards, but with the temperature at minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit, the wind chill plummets to minus 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Your skin cells are dying, second by second, as the cold sinks its teeth deeper. You scan the horizon, desperate for something familiar. A building, a road, anything. But all you see is endless frozen steppe, a landscape that makes a desert look welcoming. No forests, no fields, just ice and snow stretching forever. Your brain, wired for Wi-Fi and warm beds, screams for shelter, but the Ice Age doesn't care about your expectations. You stumble forward, each step a stab of pain through your bleeding feet. Those rocks on the ground, your ancestors turned them into tools, but your hands, soft from a life of keyboards and coffee cups, can't even grip them. The cold isn't just uncomfortable. It's a predator. Scientists who've studied ice cores from this time know the brutal math. Global temperatures averaged 46 degrees Fahrenheit, 11 degrees colder than today. But here, where ice sheets rule, winter hits minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit, sometimes minus 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Frostbite doesn't creep in over hours. It strikes in minutes. Your skin temperature's already dropped from 91 degrees Fahrenheit to 59 degrees Fahrenheit. Your blood vessels constricting to save your core warmth. But here's the cruel twist. You're built for the African savanna, not this frozen wasteland. Your body betrays you in ways you never imagined. Your narrow nose, useless at warming frigid air, lets the cold slice straight into your lungs, crystallizing moisture in your airways. Your long, lean limbs, perfect for shedding heat in a tropical climate, are bleeding warmth into the Arctic air at a lethal rate, 40% more than a cold-adapted human like a Neanderthal. Shivering kicks in, violent spasms burning through your 600 calories of quick-access energy at 10 times the normal rate. In 4 hours, you'll be out of fuel, your body eating its own muscles to survive. Your brain, that marvel of evolution, demands 20% of your energy just to think straight. But in this cold, it's hoarding even more, leaving your fingers and toes numb and useless. The air itself is an enemy. Lower atmospheric pressure makes every breath less effective, and the dust, rock flour ground by glaciers, coats your throat, scratches your eyes, turns every blink into agony. You're not just fighting the cold. You're fighting the environment itself. Somewhere in the distance, shadows move, big ones. Your gut twists, your primitive brain flooding you with adrenaline. Because those aren't deer or rabbits. They're the kind of shadows that hunted your ancestors, and now they've got your scent. You're alone, naked, and exposed in a world that doesn't care if you live or die. Your ancestors? They didn't just survive this, they thrived, building cultures, raising families, creating art in this frozen hell. You've got 24 hours, and the clock started the second your bare feet hit the ice. You're 6 minutes in now, and the cold sinking deeper, your breath a cloud of frost, your fingers barely able to curl. Those shadows are getting closer, and they're not here to help. You hear a low, rumbling growl, vibrating through the permafrost before it reaches your ears. Your hypothermic brain struggles to process it, but your instincts scream danger. 30 feet away, emerging from the twilight, stands a monster that makes a grizzly bear look like a teddy bear. This is Arctidus simus, the giant short-faced bear, 13 feet tall on its hind legs, 2,000 pounds of muscle and rage. The skull is built for crushing bones. Its long legs designed for speed, 30 to 40 miles per hour, faster than you could ever run, even with shoes and a clear head. Scientists know these weren't lumbering scavengers. They were hypercarnivores, meat specialists who could chase down anything. You, shivering and barely able to walk, are an easy meal. Another sound cuts through the wind, a coughing roar that freezes your blood. That's Panthera spalea, the cave lion, 25% larger than any modern lion. These beasts took down mammoths, so a naked, hypothermic human doesn't even count as a challenge. The fossil record tells a grim story. Human bones from sites like Grota Aemenades in Morocco show carnivore teeth marks. We weren't just hunted occasionally, we were regular prey. And it's not just the lion. Shadows multiply, moving with eerie coordination.
Dire wolves, canis dirus, ant in super pax, 30, 40.
Sometimes 50 strong. Their jaws, 129% stronger than a modern gray wolf's, could snap your femur like a twig. Then, a whisper-quiet patting chills you to the bone. Smilodon fatalis, the saber-tooth cat, doesn't roar, it doesn't need to. At 400 pounds, with 7-inch sabers and a jaw that opens 120 degrees, it's built to sever windpipes in one bite. You crawl into a shallow depression, thinking it's shelter, but you've made a fatal mistake. That musky smell you didn't notice? Those fresh paw prints? You're in a bear's daybed, and it's coming back. Your ancestors knew better. They recognized predator signs. Bear beds, lion scratches, wolf scat, and taught their kids from birth which shadows meant death. They hunted in groups, 8 to 12 strong, using stone cairns built over generations to funnel herds into ambushes. They wielded spears with Clovis points, fluted for maximum damage, and used fire to keep beasts at bay. You've got nothing but a fading pulse and hands too numb to make a fist. The predators don't even rush. Why would they? Hypothermia's doing their work for them. Your core temperature's down to 94 degrees Fahrenheit. You're shivering now, violent convulsions that feel like your muscles are tearing apart. Fine motor control's gone. You couldn't throw a spear or tie a knot if your life depended on it, and it does. Your ancestors could braid sinew rope with half-frozen fingers, craft weapons that pierced mammoth hide, and coordinate hunts like military operations. You manage 3 stumbling steps before crashing face-first into the permafrost, your legs cramped from cold and exhaustion. The bear lopes closer, its massive skull swinging, sniffing you out. The cave lion's eyes glint, the wolves circle, and the saber-tooth moves silently, its breath clouding the air. Your adrenaline's pumping, but it's useless. Your constricted blood vessels can't fuel your muscles to run. You're a Ferrari with no gas, surrounded by killing machines perfectly adapted to this world. Your ancestors turned the tables on these predators. They didn't just hide. They hunted, using drive lanes and ambush sites chosen for acoustics. They understood animal psychology better than the animals themselves, predicting movements, exploiting weaknesses. A mammoth hunt was a choreographed symphony, not chaos. You'd miss a mammoth 50 feet away in this visibility, let alone know how to kill it. The bear's breath is close now, reeking of rotted meat. It doesn't attack yet, it doesn't need to. The cold's already winning, and the predators are patient, waiting for you to become carrion. Your vision's tunneling, your thoughts scattering like ice crystals. Hypothermia whispers lies about warmth, urging you to lie down. Your ancestors fought those lies with fire, shelters, and each other. You're alone, and in the Ice Age, alone means dead. Your body's failing fast, but it's not just the cold or the beasts killing you. It's what you don't know. You're 20 minutes in, core temperature at 92 degrees Fahrenheit, frostbite claiming your fingers, and the predators are still watching. You're desperate for shelter, your hypothermic brain screaming for anything to stop the wind. You spot a rock overhang and stumble toward it, thinking it's salvation. But your ancestors would have stopped dead. That dark stain on the stone? Fresh cave bear scat. Those scratches 12 feet up? Marks of a 1,000-pound Ursus spelaeus that kills to protect its turf. Caves were as deadly as they were tempting. Bears, lions, and hyenas fought for them, and the floors were littered with the bones of humans who made your mistake. Shelter wasn't found in the Ice Age. It was built, and it was genius. The Gravettians crafted mammoth bone huts. Not crude shacks, but architectural marvels. Each used bones from 60 to 149 mammoths, 23 tons of material stacked with precision. Skulls formed the base, mandibles interlocked for walls, tusks braced the roof. These structures withstood 80-mile-per-hour winds and kept families alive through winters that would freeze you solid in minutes. Building one took 20 people, knowledge of load-bearing angles, and sinew lashing passed down through generations. Even if you found a pile of mammoth bones, your frozen fingers couldn't lift a single skull, let alone engineer a home. You're too weak, too ignorant, and too cold. Fire's your next hope, but it's a cruel fantasy. You're fumbling with 2 rocks, thinking you can spark a flame like some TV survivalist. But these aren't flint, they're useless granite and basalt. Even with flint, you'd need iron pyrite, and the nearest deposit's 200 miles away. Your ancestors knew every stone source within a week's walk. They didn't just start fires. They mastered them. Hearths in Ukraine hit 600 degrees Celsius, using bone fat and wood, stone reflectors, and underground air channels for efficiency. They carried fire in horn containers, smoldering punk wood for days. You're in 80-mile-per-hour winds, trying to spark wet spruce with hands that can't feel. Even if you got an ember, you'd need tinder, dried fungus, shredded bark, animal hair, prepared days in advance. You've got nothing but desperation. Water's everywhere, but it's killing you. Millions of tons of ice surround you, yet your throat burns with thirst. Cold diuresis has your kidneys dumping fluids, and eating snow drops your core temperature by 0.1 degrees Fahrenheit per mouthful. You're at 91 degrees Fahrenheit now, you can't afford that. Your ancestors never ate snow. They knew where springs flowed, memorized geological points for water, and carved bone tubes to access it through thick ice. You're pounding a frozen stream with bleeding fists, the ice harder than concrete. Even if you broke through, the water's 32.1 degrees Fahrenheit, like swallowing hypothermia itself. They used heated stones to thaw water without cracking, a skill refined over millennia. You're just bleeding, freezing, and failing. Food's another lost cause. The mammoth steppe looks barren, but it teemed with calories, if you knew how to get them. Plant biomass was down 50%, locked underground as roots and tubers. Your ancestors knew which were edible, how to process toxic veach seeds over days to remove neurotoxins. You can't name a single plant. Reindeer herds numbered 10,000, but they followed migration routes only trackers could predict. Mammoths had matriarchs with 60 years of landscape memory. You can't follow your own footprints. Hunting needed Clovis points, crafted over hours, plus seasoned spear shafts and group coordination. You're alone, starving, your body eating its muscles through gluconeogenesis. You're wasting away in fast forward. Navigation's beyond you. Ice Age humans memorized landscapes that changed seasonally. Summer landmarks vanished under snow, rivers appeared and disappeared. They read subtle cues. Snow patterns, wind shifts, stars through ice fog. Their mental maps span thousands of miles, updated across generations. You're lost, the sun barely rising, compasses useless near the poles. Medicine's another gap. That cut on your heel? It's weeping pus, a highway for Clostridium perfringens, causing gas gangrene. Your immune system's crashing, unable to fight ancient bacteria. Your ancestors knew which lichens fought infection, how to dose willow bark for pain. You're dying from a wound a modern Band-Aid would fix. Every skill, shelter, fire, water, food, navigation, medicine was a technology, a masterpiece of ingenuity. Your ancestors turned bones into homes, fire into art, knowledge into survival. You're trying to reinvent 50,000 years of wisdom in a hypothermic haze, and the predators are still waiting, patient as stone, because they know ignorance is as deadly as the cold. You're an hour in now, core temperature at 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Your vision tunneling, the bear's breath close enough to smell. But it's not just the cold or the beasts. It's the lack of stuff that's killing you. Your ancestors didn't just survive with grit. They had gear, tools, and tech that rivaled modern engineering. Let's talk about the genius of Ice Age technology, because without it, you're already a ghost. You're naked, your skin blue-black with frostbite, while your ancestors wore outfits that make modern parkas look amateur. The Sunjir burial site, 28,000 years old, shows a 5-layer system. Bird skin undergarments, feathers inward for warmth, hollow shaft caribou hair for insulation, windproof seal intestine shells, and outer layers of woven mammoth hair. Seams were double-stitched with sinew, sealed with pine pitch, reinforced at stress points. These weren't clothes. They were survival machines, trapping air to keep them alive in -40 degrees Fahrenheit. And those 500 mammoth ivory beads, each an hour to carve? That's 3,500 hours of work for decoration alone. Proof they didn't just survive, they had swagger. Making these clothes was chemistry and craft. The eyed needle, invented 40,000 years ago, was a precision instrument, ground from specific bones, drilled with flint microdrills. Thread came from sinew, harvested from exact tendons, separated, dried, and stored with care. Plant fibers needed harvesting at precise growth stages, retting and spinning. Tanning hides was magic. Brain tanning used neural tissue to break down collagen. Smoke tanning needed specific woods. Urine tanning required exact ammonia levels. Each took weeks, skills honed over lifetimes. You're surrounded by materials. A wolf carcass with fur, mammoth bones with sinew, but your frostbitten hands can't hold a needle, let alone make one. Footwear was a marvel. Ice Age boots had soft hide interiors, insulating grass or fur, waterproof shells, and antler ice cleats. They were custom-fitted, with dozens of pattern pieces passed down through generations. Your bleeding, swollen feet need sizing you can't figure out. Tools were portable factories. A hunter carried 20 pounds of gear, spears, knives, fire kits, sewing kits, spare stone points, wound supplies, each item taking thousands of hours to craft. Clovis points required master knappers who knew stone fracture mechanics, hafting with sinew and pine pitch. You banged rocks together earlier, got nothing but bloody fingers. Flint knapping is physics, cryptocrystalline structures, platform angles, percussion force. Your ancestors trained for decades. You're out of time. Fire tech was godlike. Hearths used stone reflectors, air channels, and mixed fuels for 600 degrees Celsius heat. They carried fire in horn containers, smoldering for days. You're in 80-mile-per-hour winds, trying to spark wet spruce with useless rocks. Even with an ember, you'd need prepared tinder, dried fungus, shredded bark, animal hair. Shelter tech was insane. Mammoth bone huts were engineering feats, with interlocking bones and hide coverings that trapped heat without carbon monoxide buildup. Building one took 20 people and generational knowledge. You can't lift a skull, let alone stack it. Snow caves? The snow's dense as concrete, and you've got no tools. Your ancestors turned death into dwellings. You're just dying. You're 9 hours in, core temperature at 80 degrees Fahrenheit, your heart stuttering, the bear close enough to touch. But it's not just the cold, the beasts, or the lack of tech. It's the human spirit you're missing. Your ancestors didn't just survive the Ice Age. They thrived because they had each other. You're alone, and that's your fatal flaw. Bands of 25 to 50 weren't random. They were mathematically perfect. Too few, and you'd lose skills and genes. Too many, and you'd starve. Every person had a role. Hunters, firekeepers, toolmakers, plant gatherers, midwives, storytellers. Knowledge was redundant, preserved in songs, dances, rituals. Lose a hunter? An apprentice stepped up. Lose a medicine woman? Her daughter carried on. You're trying to be everyone, hunter, navigator, medic, and it's impossible. Their social structures were survival machines. Leadership was competence, not ego. The best tracker led hunts, the weather predictor chose travel days, the plant expert guided gathering. Status came from contribution. They shared body heat, sleeping in tight configurations to cut heat loss by 50%. They divided labor. Hunters chased game. Others maintained fires, processed kills, sewed clothes. You're radiating heat into empty space, trying to do it all alone. Kids learned survival before walking, absorbing 10,000 hours of observation by age 5. By 10, they could build fires in blizzards, track rabbits, identify 200 plants. This wasn't genius, it was normal, an education where failure meant death. They memorized landscapes, star patterns, animal behaviors, plant toxicities, encoded in stories and rituals. Their memory techniques outshine modern neuroscience. Your education taught you algebra, not how to read ice or predict weather from clouds. Their art was survival. Cave paintings encoded hunting strategies. Venus figurines showed famine-ready body types. Decorated tools carried clan identity. Music synced groups during long winters. Rituals built resilience. Initiation ceremonies, vision quests, isolation trials trained kids to face death without breaking. Your mind's unraveling, hallucinating your childhood, your mother calling, your first love laughing. These aren't comfort, they're torture, reminding you of connections you'll never see again. Your ancestors faced death with songs and ceremonies. You're facing it with whimpers and fragments. Nutrition was science. They knew which organs had vitamins, eating them raw to preserve nutrients. Bone marrow gave fats, blood supplied iron, stomach contents offered fermented plants. They ate seasonally to avoid deficiencies, never wasting a scrap. You're starving, your body eating itself, surrounded by food you can't access. Berries under snow, marrow in bones, plants needing processing you don't understand. Their psychological defenses were as vital as tools. Rituals gave meaning to suffering, promising reunion with ancestors. Social roles gave purpose, ensuring no one died unmourned. You're dying alone, your mind shattered by isolation modern psychology can't grasp. As your heart skips its final beats, the bear begins its meal, wolves circling, saber-tooth waiting. By tomorrow, you're scattered bones. By spring, nothing. But your ancestors turned this frozen hell into a cradle for humanity. They built civilizations on ice, seeded cultures across the globe. Their greatest innovation wasn't fire or tools. It was us, the collective, the shared struggle that made the uninhabitable habitable. You failed not because you're weak, but because you're alone, carrying modern arrogance into an ancient exam. They succeeded because they carried each other. So, wild ones, as we leave this frozen world, marvel at what we came from. The Ice Age tested bodies, minds, and spirits, and your ancestors didn't just survive. They danced, sang, and built in a world that tried to kill them daily. That's the human wild, the unbreakable spark that carried us through. What do you think? Could you have lasted an hour longer? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button if you're awed by our ancestors, and subscribe to keep exploring the wild roots of humanity. Until next time, stay wild.